Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, let's talk about the Fed and the Fed pivot. That's the main topic because everyone seems to be focused on it. The U.S. market rallied hard today, along with yesterday. Will it continue? Well, let's talk about it. All right, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And make sure you follow my other channels as well. A new posted on Drivers Only tonight. So make sure you watch that after you watch this stream. All right, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Even though the headline news on CNBC is Elon Musk deciding to buy Twitter once again for its full price. Well, the price that he originally offered at. Well, that's not the big story. The big story is this. Look at the U.S. market, how it concluded. Dow plus 800, NASDAQ plus 3%. Asia right now is soaring. Hong Kong's up 4%. And when Europe wakes up, well, look at Europe. Europe had a crazy day too. And when they wake up, they'll probably have a pretty good day. So right now, it's looking good. Bitcoin, of course, followed as well, above 20,000. We haven't seen that massive pump yet for Bitcoin, but it did get a little boost today, above 20,000. Overall market cap is closing in again to that 1 trillion market cap, right? That magical 1 trillion. Well, if this continues, we'll certainly see that soon. And you could see that the people's currency is up 5% today. So that's pretty good. Doge, which used to be the people's currency, up 9%. It's due to Elon. And Polygon's up 4%. And several others are up as well. So these are good stuff. Good stuff indeed. But what is this? What is this Fed pivot? What is this all about? Well, there are many that's looking at what's happening right now with the U.S. dollar being so damn strong. Okay, it's going to wreck a lot of other countries. And that is why the UN warned the Fed to cool it, because the U.S. dollar is too strong right now. It's killing all these other currencies out there. People are going broke just because their currencies are devaluing. Let's not forget about inflation, but this is devaluing even harder than inflation. So with the dollar soaring, with the UN warning the U.S. to cool it, plus other factors. For example, today, the job openings metric came out, the data came out, and job openings dropped 10% month to month from 11 million down to 10 million, which means the labor force is getting will get a little weaker because there's not as many jobs out there. Powell has said that before, right? So take a look at this. The job openings, boom, like fell down hard, right? And because of this also, that means a lot of people think that Fed Chair Powell will have to be more dovish, that he will pivot. And whenever a pivot happens, it's tremendous. If you look at history, look at all the times that the Fed has pivoted, well, glorious days follow. We're talking about massive pumps, massive rallies, at least short term. But let's not forget, if the Fed pivots and lowers its rate hikes or stops it altogether or even starts cutting, well, that's only good temporarily for markets. But long term, it's going to be bad, very, very bad, because inflation will continue to rise up. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and hard place. You want temporary relief, you want temporary rally only to see it maybe disappear down the road, or would you just suffer through more pain now and get it over with and then just wait for good days ahead, right? It's kind of one of those situations right now. So many people are thinking that the Fed will pivot. That is why markets have been rallying, and also why the DXY actually started coming down. We noticed this from a few days ago, up to 114, then it dropped to 112, today it dropped to 110. That's fantastic. The lower the DXY goes, the weaker the dollar gets. Well, not to zero, hopefully, not anytime soon, but the weaker the dollar gets, it actually helps other markets. Money flows out of the dollar and into equities, into Bitcoin, into crypto. So, is this the start of that Santa rally, right? Remember, I've talked about the Santa rally, the Christmas rally that usually happens the last few months of the year. We are in October. October traditionally is a good month, and we're heading into November for Thanksgiving and, of course, Christmas and December. Are we going to see a tremendous rally, especially if the Fed pivots in November saying, oh, we're not going to raise rates, or we're just going to raise it by 25 basis points instead of 75, right? Will that cause a huge rally? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. So that is what everyone is talking about today. And I guess we will have to see. Obviously, it's a big deal, which is why, and I forgot to mention about a few days ago, no, just yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? The FOMC had a quote-unquote emergency meeting, right? And people were wondering why the FOMC Board of Governors wanted to meet. Could be because they just wanted to get together and have a beer, or maybe just get some free lunch, or maybe they're talking about the possibility of pivoting. It happened in the UK recently too. UK decided to cut some of the rate cuts that they announced. And also they started buying up a lot of bonds, right? So UK kind of pivoted. Will the US follow next? If I had to guess, if I had to put a percentage, right, I would say it's still 50-50. I'm not so sure Fed Chair Powell can be swayed that easily, okay? Maybe if he's under tremendous pressure, but I would say maybe not. So we'll see. 50-50 chance at this point, but the markets are definitely reacting like it's 100% at this point. All right, now, how does that relate to Bitcoin and crypto? Well, traditionally speaking, when a DXY goes down, Bitcoin and crypto goes up in a tremendous way. Plan B actually tweeted this out. This is looking at the 5 years holders price and 2 years holders price. 2 year holder price, average price about 35,000. Obviously, we are lower than that, but 5 years going back, it's about 20,000. And why that's interesting is because you look at previous bottoms. That's usually where Bitcoin's price hovers, right around that 5 year like cost average, right? I think he wrote that wrong. He put 5M. It should be 5Y. But if you look at previous times like 2015, 2018, right, it was hovering right around there. And right now, it's hovering around right there too. So, there's just a lot of indicators right now showing that Bitcoin is ready to turn. He's making an argument that 20,000 where we are is the new 4,000, because we hovered at 4,000, 3,000 for many, 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 many months. And it seemed like Bitcoin could not get out of that funk until it did. And Bitcoin supply and exchanges hit a 4-year low. Why is this? Well, people are buying whales, banks. Been talking about a lot of banks buying crypto, asking the banking, some kind of committee to up their holdings to 5% from 1%. I forgot what it was, Bank of Transmission Services or something like that. But also, they were pulled, holding $9.2 billion worth of Bitcoin. Michael Saylor still has his billions, and many others still have their billions, right? More and more are being bought and removed from the exchanges. It's really that simple, right? So these are all fantastic things that are still happening with Bitcoin. But the big thing, the big Fed pivot, if it happens, well, strap on, because we will see some tremendous upside if it happens. We'll see. All right. Now, as for alts, just to share some good news, about Solana because people always think, oh, I only spread FUD about Solana, even though I've supported them for many years and I still hold a quite a large bag. But Solana has been going through some growing pains. Their network keeps going out left and right. But here's something positive, that the number of transactions happening on Solana is still like 10x higher than the next competitor, which is the Binance Smart Chain. So you look at that, there are definitely still a lot of people utilizing Solana at this point. Could be NFTs, could be, I don't know, DeFi, whatever the case is. So that's pretty positive, right? If you look at top 10 proof of stake assets by staking market capitalization, how much is staked? Well, Solana is number 2. So that's also pretty positive as well, right? So these are fantastic things for Solana. So I do think that they'll get out of it. Hopefully, I think they will, but you know what? They need to stop doing interviews, where they're bashing like other projects like Bitcoin and Cardano and really just focus on fixing what they have. And as for, Binance Smart Chain, they came out with a staking report. This is pretty amazing. Looking at the staking stats, over 85% of all BNB has been staked. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. The number of transactions is still quite high, still above Ethereum's, even though it has dropped down quite tremendously from its peak. But there's still more network activity on Binance Smart Chain than Ethereum at this point. And you know what? They introduced a lot of stuff like liquid staking and so forth. So BNB is still pretty healthy at this point. And they open up 2 new offices in Brazil. Brazil, we know, is pretty pro Bitcoin, pro blockchain. So they're taking advantage. And then lastly, Celsius co-founder, besides Alex, Leon resigns. He's the chief strategy officer. These guys are leaving left and right. And supposedly they had some crazy plans on saving Celsius, like issuing IOU token, like coming out with a token saying, oh, I owe you money with that token. Like stuff like that just really seemed silly, just even reading it out loud. But I guess these guys has come to terms that there's nothing they could do to save Celsius other than to sell to FTX, which is probably going to happen, I think next week or week after that. It's probably going to happen soon. But the bad thing is Alex reportedly sold $10 million worth of crypto right before he stopped withdrawals. That's not a good look. Not a good look at all. All right, guys. That is pretty much it overall. Let's see. Something else, just to throw some TA at you guys. I was drawing this trend line, right, from November of 2021 till now. And you could see that Bitcoin has pretty much stuck under this trend line. We briefly surpassed it in March of this year when Bitcoin, March of this year, Bitcoin went up to $48,000. That seemed like it was an eternity ago, right? But that was only 7 months ago. So think about it. If we could fall this much within 7 months, can we get back up that high in 7 months? Certainly possible, but outside of that brief stint, we've been pretty much below this trend line. We are right there once again. Can we break through? And if so, then our next targets, of course, is this 22 mark that we hit recently, and then we hit this 25 mark, right? But if we can get past both of these above 25K, then watch out. Then we're talking about the 30s. And if we could break that into the 40s, can we do that before the end of the year? Well, it could happen if more people do this. We will see. We will see. All right, let's do some Q&A. Poor boy Crypto asked, George, should I change my call sign back to Rich Boy Crypto, or is it too soon? You know what? Maybe a tad early, but you do you, man. If you're more comfortable being known as Rich Boy, then go ahead. Will XRP be the world standard? Well, it'll forever be the people's currency. I don't know about the world standard, though. OS BDC, BDC doing well during current times. A-Line's manipulating market again. I don't know if he's manipulating Bitcoin. He's manipulating Doge in a way. But, you know, there was something leaked out about how he wanted to verify Twitter transactions using Doge. And that's something I said today with the guys that talked to us in City. I'm like, what happens if he does that? Will the Bitcoin maxis like Michael Saylor just stop using Twitter? So it seemed like he was going to do that, and then he canceled plans for it. That's funny, though. All right. Let's see. Define Fed pivot. If stopping rates and lowering instead, that's not going to happen now. They don't have to lower. They could simply go more dovish, not raise as much, or stop raising rates. But they're not going to lower right now. That's for sure. And there's no guarantee that this will even happen. This is what people think will happen. But, you know, Powell is his own man. He has to make his own decisions. I don't know if he's going to be influenced by the UN and others. No lie, I did not look at Tamadal Doge, and I'm not going to. Do you think the DXY will make another pump to all-time high? Well, if the Fed pivots, then no. And if these economic data continues to be weak, then no. Right? Today, it was not just the UN, but, you know, sometimes bad news is good news. So when we see stuff like this where job openings went down, that's actually considered bad, right? But that's exactly what Powell wants. So people want to see bad economic data. Just not horrible data, just bad data. So we get some more data saying, you know, jobless claims goes up, right? That would also probably lead to a market rally, even though it shouldn't. But, you know, everyone is looking for reasons to buy when there's a reason that Powell won't raise more rates, right? Kind of like that. That's the thinking. How do you feel about Sheeb Eternity? Hey, man, I have no thoughts on it, man. Isn't that the new game? I've not played it. I have no idea what it's about, so I can't really talk about it. Jason, I appreciate it, man. Start filming the next phases of my home build. So it's getting exciting. These videos are going to get more exciting. So, can I have your thoughts on Digibyte? Yeah, it's an old school coin that really no one cares about anymore. It's lost all its luster, and I don't know if it's ever going to come back. So that's kind of my thought on it. Can you play XRP video that... What? Can you play XRP video that Crypto Chino has on his TikTok? People's Currency Army would love it. I have no idea which video that is. And you know what? I don't really care because I already have the best one. I have the rarest copy of the educational video that no one else has. So that's all I really need. Do I have a MEXC promo code? Well, there's no promo code. You just use my affiliate link. They upped their their deposit bonus up to like $9,100 recently. So it's quite a lot. So check it out. Use my link if you guys want to trade. Take a look at MEXC or MEXC. They're pretty good. I've been using them a lot more outside of KuCoin. So check them out. Ready to admit that you're wrong about XRP? Never. Never. I'm never wrong. Only misunderstood. I saw a massive draft today made of Legos. I saw that. Where is it at? I mean, at the Legoland Adventures. Which cold wallet? Ledger, not X. The S. S used to be my go-to. Now it's the S Plus because S Plus is just better. I could store more wallets. So X is not bad either. It's just there's that Bluetooth capability, and that kind of scares me a little bit. But you know, to be honest, I use mobile wallets a lot more these days. They're just so much more convenient. I have my phone everywhere, you know, so having a mobile wallet makes sense. So there's a lot of good ones like Trust Wallet, you know. So just take a look at them. But yeah, Ledger, if you want a pure hardware wallet, I would say Ledger is pretty good. All their wallets are pretty good. So thoughts on Cadena patenting chain web architecture? I don't know if I want open source project to patent because then they're not open source. That was one of the problems that hindered Hedera. They called it Hedera hash graph because they wanted to copyright open source code. So that was one of the drawbacks. So I don't know how I feel about Cadena patenting anything. Their chain web architecture is great. It scales Satoshi Nakamoto's consensus infinitely, basically. But I don't think they should be patenting anything. When is YouTube going to have a badass layout of Twitch? Is it really badass? I mean, every time I watch Twitch, I feel like I don't know what's going on. There's so much going on. So many things moving around. And the chat is just unbearable. It's all bots in the chat. So I don't know if that's the right way to go. How do I feel about the Luna Classic burn? I warned you guys. The burn is going to take like 500 years before it burns like a significant amount away. So it's not going to be as much as people think. People think, oh, Binance, convincing Binance to turn up the burn is going to cause so much to be burned. I think within the first week or so, it only burned like $1 million with their Luna Classic, and now people realize, well, 1 million out of 6-7 trillion is very little. So, you know, a lot of us were burned with Terra Luna. It's time to move past that. People that are still clinging on to hope, thinking that the burn will somehow miraculously fix everything, it won't. Everyone left. So, yeah. So I don't think it's going to save them. That is the correct stats, man. I just checked like a few days ago. So I don't know what other stats you're looking at. There's a lot of calculators out there, a lot of things that are tracking it. You can't dispute how much is being burned. How do you feel about Tom Brady getting divorced? Not my concern, but I think everyone saw that because they've been apart for a month or so. I don't know. I like to take Tom Brady's side because I like to think that, hey, if you're like the GOAT of football and that's in your blood, you just want to play as long as you can, right? So I'm on his side, but I could see how Gazelle, probably had this arrangement with him saying, hey, you know, I'm putting my career on on hold for you, and now it's my turn, and they had an agreement, and then he just backtracks and shatters everything. So I could see her side too, but I don't know. I don't know. I think you just let the guy play. If he can play, just let him play until he can't play. Jolamas, no one's talking about them. I don't know who you're talking to, but no one is talking about either one of those. I think you just hang out. See, if you hang out on Twitter too much, then you think everyone's talking about it because Twitter is filled with like 90% bots that want you to think that everyone's talking about it, but really no one is. So don't get fooled getting suckered into some new hype project. Do you know which place to buy real gold? I don't know. There's a lot of gold shops. Just find a local gold shop. Thoughts on Ben Simmons' pullback airball last night? I already talked about it. People asked me if the Nets are going to win it all this year. Based on that fadeaway jump shot, I'm going to say no. No. George, please check again. Binance has burned 5.6 billion. So what? Did it burn 6 trillion away? No. Stop clinging on hope, man. You're giving yourself false hope. Everyone in here mad about me saying, "Oh, I'm misspeaking about Luna Classic." You guys are giving yourself false hope. That 6 trillion or close to 7 trillion that was minted is never going to be burned away within your lifetime. And just because it's burning, what use case is there? Besides people trading, that's it. All the dApps left. There's nothing left to it. So stop trying to. It's the same people that was trying to argue with me like, oh, look at Celsius is pumping. You don't know what you're talking about. There's a short squeeze going on. Yeah, everyone get back in Celsius. They're going to save themselves. I mean, really? Could you not see the writing on the wall? That is not going to go anywhere, right? So it's kind of the same thing. You have to just let it go. If you have a small portion riding in Luna, whatever, everyone had whatever they had, right? It was basically no point to sell because you sell it for like pennies. It was like no point, right? But if you're like trying to put in like massive money in there thinking that it's going to like pump up back to where it was, no, it's not. Have you not heard Charles bash other projects? I have. It's fine. It's fine. I just got done saying this. Right? Just because you bash someone else's project doesn't mean that they're actually bad, or it doesn't mean that you actually hate it. At least with me. I can't speak for everyone. Because when I see something bad with a project, I call it out. I don't really bash them, but I say negative things. I say negative things about Cardano all the time. I say negative things about Solana all the time. I say negative things about Ethereum all the time. But it doesn't mean that I hate them, but you got to call them out, right? So whatever. I just feel like there's too many guys that get way too offended because they think that they have to protect like their bag's honor, and if they don't, somehow it's going to like crash to zero. No, it's not. Okay. It's kind of the same way like with Bitcoin maxis, right? I don't like Bitcoin maxis. There's a lot of Bitcoin maxis out there. It's fine if they just kind of like, they stick with Bitcoin. I cover Bitcoin plenty, but they go on these attack rages with anyone else that disagrees with them or anyone else that likes any altcoins. And I just don't agree with that, you know. Elliot says, if we got our 30s, then 40s, what's next? 50s? Yeah, and what's after 50s, 60s? I think your math is solid there. A chic car, whatever. No, I didn't. I didn't tell you to, DCN Lunar Classic. I said I was going to. I didn't tell you to. See, now you're lying. At that time, I didn't quite understand how much was actually going to be minted. And I thought, hey, what the hell? I'm going to DCA down because maybe that's going to save me. When instead, that cost me even more money. And I lost even more on that shit project. So, yeah. Top 3 small cap choices? I don't know. I'm not really looking at small caps, man, to be honest. You know, I consolidated most of it to like the big caps because they are the ones that will recover the fastest. So look at this scam right here. Terra, the new Terra, and still within the top 100. This should have never happened. This was a scheme from Do Kwon to get some money. Basically, he needed it to escape wherever he is and to pay taxes possibly. That was his whole scheme to push that. So that's utterly, ridiculous. But, looking through here, I don't know. Some of these I still like. I still think Engine, Lido, DeFi, these are good tokens. Phantom, I still like. Helium, I still think has good potential. They're doing good today. So they moved to Solana. So that's something good for Solana. KuCoin token is still good because KuCoin is still great. Theta, still waiting to see what EOS is going to do after it moved to Antelope. Sandbox, Elrond, Decentraland, Chiliz, Tezos, Hedera, ApeCoin, VeChain, Flow, Algorand, Near, FT, I don't know how to go through it. Cosmos, Chainlink, Uniswap, Avalanche, Sheeb, Polkadot, Polygon, Solana, Cardano, Binance, People's Currency, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Yakko, I'm not on the ballot, so unfortunately writing my name is not gonna do much. Why do I call it people's currency? Because it is, and it's funny. Can you make money from Tether? No. No, quite honestly, no. Well, you could make money if you have, like over the last few months, like UK sterling, the pound, the euro, the yen, right? They were really getting hammered against USD. So how you could have made money was buy Tether with your currency, and now you could swap it back and you would have made like 10, 15, 20%. You could have made money that way. Do you think BTC could become a global reserve currency one day? I think there's a shot, but man, it's going to take a lot to make that happen. You're going to have to see some collapses. You're going to see some major collapses, like the USD collapsing, Euro collapsing, the pound collapsing. You're going to see some major currencies collapse. Then people won't know what's the next reserve currency, and they turn to something that is non-sovereign, Bitcoin. Right? I think there's a small chance it could happen, and if it does, it's not going to be anytime soon. Your grandkids will ask you why you didn't buy Bitcoin at 20,000. That is right. If you have not bought any, I mean, there's no guarantees, right? Of course, we were just in the 18s. We could fall back to 18s. We were at 17s before. But you know what? Bitcoin will turn around. More people will turn into Bitcoiners and crypto guys because, you know, as more and more people get educated on what's going on in the world, they're going to get turned off. And there's really no better currency out there. There's no better asset to hold other than Bitcoin and crypto. So it's just a matter of time. And the scarcity factor still in play. Bitcoin is getting more scarce, and the halving event is coming up, and there's only a set number that there will ever be, right? These are important things that a lot of people overlook. Where do you see ETH in the next 6 months? Well, if we have a good Santa rally, Ethereum could possibly get, I would say, you know what? It could possibly get to 3,000 in the best case scenario. In a more conservative scenario, you know, above 2,000, I would say that's a real possibility. But off chance, it could hit 3,000. Did you see Alex Masinski's GoFundMe? No, that can't be right. That cannot be right. That has to be fake, Johnny. There's no way he would dare to do that. No way. I mean, especially when it was reported that he cashed out $10 million right before he stopped withdrawals. Man, if that's really true, he has no shame. I don't see it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I hope it's a joke. All right, guys. So, will the Fed pivot due to external pressures and due to some softening in the US economy? Well, let's hope. I don't know. I would say even if it happens, you know, be prepared because it's only going to give us temporary relief, but long term, it's going to make the suffering prolonged. So I don't know if that's actually good, but you know what? People live in a moment, and if we have 3 months of good rallying because of this, I'll take it. We'll take it, right? So we'll see. All right, guys, tune in tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see what happens, and go check out my car video on drivers only. Link is in the description, and smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.